remember playing with my cousins in the basement of our grandparents' house and feeling as if I didn't fit in. I was blonde like most of my cousins. I had the same pale ass skin as them. I even had the same piercing blue eyes. So, why did I feel so different? Hmm, Probably because I was the chubby kid. The kid that could share clothes with her mom at the age of 9. The kid that needed a damn bra by the age of 10. Now, I might be exaggerating a bit, but you get the point. I was not feeling like I fit in because I didn't look like my cousins. They were the size of twigs, and I was more like the trunk of the massive tree my cousins fell from. Welcome to Chaotic Harmony. I am your host, Angela Schultz. I didn't know if I wanted to talk about this topic just yet. However, a few weeks ago, I found myself getting a little annoyed just enough to make some comments I read on a reel I saw on Facebook. I may have even taken it a bit personal, to be honest. It was about a beautiful couple that I follow, a couple that tends to get more hateful comments than positive, all because the wife is plus size and the husband is physically fit. I believe the whole idea of their videos is to spread body positivity, self-love, self-care, and true love. Instead of getting all kinds of inspirational feedback that they obviously should be getting, they are getting more like, how could a man be attracted to a woman like her? Now that hit me hard because I am that plus size woman with a husband that shouldn't be attracted to me. Yet here I am, married to him for 12 plus years, and he still, to this day, makes me feel like I am beautiful, sexy, amazing, smart, talented, funny. Did I forget to say amazing? Don't get me wrong. When we first started our, I'll call it dating. He tends to call it hooking up. I had to pinch myself a lot. Make sure I wasn't in fantasy land. Because to myself, I was saying, why would someone like him be with someone like me? It fucked with my mind a lot. I was one of those non-believers of all that. Anytime I ever brought my body up into conversation, he would tell me I was sexy and he loved me the way I was. I remember questioning his eyesight many times. The man is colorblind. So maybe he was just completely blind and was in total denial of it. That had to be the answer. Or, love really is blind. As much as I questioned my husband's thoughts and opinions on this, I never once thought that maybe, just maybe, it was me. Maybe I was the problem. Maybe I was blind. Maybe I was more than just a number on the scale. I needed to do some soul searching and see myself the way my husband sees me. But the problem with all of that is whenever I look in the mirror, I see every single flaw on my body. And sometimes I even vent some more just because. I did this so much that I made myself believe that what I saw in the mirror was so disgusting that nobody could ever love me. I don't. So why should anyone else? I did this kind of thinking my entire life. Constantly reminding myself that because I didn't look like anyone else around me, that I was unworthy. Well, more like I felt disgusting. I said all of this and more to myself out loud all the time, only to make it more real, more believable. Weight was always a roadblock in my life. When I was younger, I was the big daughter, the big sister, the fat student, the fat friend. I got picked on and bullied for what I wore, what I looked like, and where I came from. And I took everything that anyone ever said to me personally, whether it was positive or negative. I was constantly being reminded that I was different, and nobody seemed to like different. If I talked to my mother about everything I was going through, she would try to understand. Once she even said, "I'll buy strawberries for you," but never really did. And if I talked to my grandma, I was told it was because I was big boned. Like, what the fuck? I was young. What the hell did big boned mean? Well, according to grandma, she was big boned too, and there was nothing wrong with that. So her definition of being big boned was looking just like her. It didn't take too long for my depression to kick in. I tried like hell to hide it, but all that did was hurt me in the end. All of the negativity from my peers hurt my motivation, my confidence, self-worth, relationships, and more. Going to school turned into pure torture. I was the butt of all jokes, and it was very draining. Then I was introduced to the movie Tommy Boy. Now that happens to be my favorite movie for many reasons, and people don't understand, but here, let me try to help you out with that. That movie helped me more than I should care to admit. I saw a fat man acting like I normally did, and people were laughing. They thought he was funny. That fat man, Chris Farley, became my idol. I wanted to be like him in every way. Now, mind you, I was young, so I didn't actually know about all that drug stuff and drinking. I loved that Chris Farley was loved for being himself. That's what I saw anyway. So I memorized every single line with one of my twig-sized cousins and started using my weight or what I looked like to get laughs, just like Chris. I wanted good attention, and that seemed like the best way. Pick on myself. Be the first person to do so, and then it won't hurt. But it did. I didn't understand why, though. I was making people laugh, but I was making them laugh at my expense. I was joining the crowd that ended up bullying me, and that didn't feel good, but it also didn't stop me. It ended up turning into my main coping skill throughout life. Then high school came. I wanted to fit in so freaking badly. I thought if I changed how I looked and dressed, then maybe that would help. So freshman year, I got rid of my glasses, got myself a set of contacts, bought a new outfits, a couple of them, and tried like hell to act like everyone else around me. I didn't want to show the real me. The exhausted, hurt, sad, and unwanted person I was at the time. It was as if I was playing make-believe every single day with myself. And that is also extremely draining. But I thought I was doing a great job at it. But those unhealthy habits I started early on in life only intensified as time went on. I was overeating, literally eating till my stomach hurt, and then I would eat more. I ate my emotions away, basically till my thoughts were only focused on the fact that my stomach hurt. I started overworking myself at home with schoolwork, clubs, band, babysitting. I attempted to keep myself busy so I could not feel. All of that just messed me up even more. My weight got higher and my mind became weaker. No matter what I did, I still felt like I didn't fit in. I did have a great group of friends though, even if they did try putting a fat spell on me in elementary school when we got into a fight. But they were all starting to do that thing that most teens do in life. Date. That is when my self-worth went completely down the tubes. If that was even possible. Ain't nobody gonna want to be with me, is all I could think. And then I unintentionally started to actually look like Chris Farley. Honestly, I did. I have proof. I didn't give two shits about myself, and I smelt like I lived in a barn. But to be fair, I did live on a farm, so that's close enough. I did, however, to my surprise, join that club my friends were all in. I got myself a boyfriend. Now, don't get your panties all in a bundle. It was during my freshman year homecoming week. He was the football player, and I got to attempt to wear his jersey for homecoming Friday. I say attempt because that jersey definitely did not fit. It made me feel like I was the casing to the bratwurst. But I squeezed into that jersey and tried like hell to wear it with pride. But let's be real, okay? It was skin tight and I was showing more rolls than the Michelin tire man. And I could barely breathe whenever I sat down. But that didn't stop my excitement because believe it or not, this big boned Chris Farley looking look-alike had a date for my first high school dance. It was a bit of an ego boost to say the least. And then 3 phone calls of mainly me talking. Go figure. 1 slight hand touch in the school hallway in front of a few people. And a few pictures taken of us all dressed up for our first homecoming dance later. He broke up with me. He did wait for his mother's car taillights to disappear into the darkness of the night before he told me he didn't want me to be his date anymore. And I did get to keep his flowers that his mother picked out for me. So I guess I can say he tried his best, to let me down. Easy, for the most part. I cried like a tit baby and left the dance early. All of those ain't nobody gonna want to be with you feelings came back to life. Once I got myself home that night, I ate myself to sleep. I was still literally in my dress, my hair was all done up yet, and I still had the flowers down. I was going to keep those. I hoped, though, that I would never wake up. Spoiler alert, I woke up the next morning, and I decided I wasn't even going to try to date anyone. Ever. I didn't want to ever feel like a loser again. I had lived enough of my life as one. I was convinced I was going to be the crazy cat lady that everyone feared and thought smelt when I got older. There was no one that was going to be able to tell me different, even my grandma. The following year, there was another high school boy that showed some interest in me. He was a year younger than me. He was built like my cousins, the size of a twig, but he seemed like a nice guy. But all my friends laughed at me. They told me he was trying to prank me. They also made sure to point out how weird we looked, together. Look at him and look at you. One even said something along the lines of, who would want to date you? I laughed with my friends and agreed with them. Shit, I even pulled out one of my Tommy Boy movie lines to make them laugh even harder, like, Tommy likey, Tommy want wingy. If my friends think I'm undateable and clearly unattractive, then it has to be true. Why would they lie to me? They are my friends. Plus, I saw what I looked like. They weren't wrong. That is when my thoughts turned dark. I was not only continuing on with the horrible eating habits I had already adopted, along with keeping myself overbusy to the point of making my mind numb, I was now wanting to die. Whenever I look in the mirror, which I tried to avoid at all cost, I saw a lonely, big-boned loser. A joke. I was never going to be good enough, pretty enough, skinny, wanted, and so on. But I had to just deal with it. I allowed myself to be whatever somebody told me I was. I never learned to love myself, nor did I try. I did, however, learn more unhealthy coping skills, like settling. I mean, at least someone on this planet thought I was something. Pathetic, I know. But that's what my big-boned mindset was. Just settle. Even if I am unhappy, at least I'm kind of wanted. It made sense at the time. I do strongly believe that this new coping skill shaped my early adulthood. I ended up graduating high school in 2002, while I was a couple months pregnant with my daughter. And just a few months after her birth, I found out I was expecting twin boys. My life went from nobody's gonna want you to, oh my God, all three of these babies not only need me, but they love me. As much as I loved my children, I found myself even more depressed. And it wasn't just about the postpartum and all that. After having the boys, the body that I thought I already hated, I ended up missing tremendously, if that was even possible. I had stretch marks everywhere, and they aren't pretty. When I complained about them to my grandma, she told me they were battle scars. Ones I should be proud of because my three beautiful babies gave them to me. My question, though, was, if that was the case, then why did I have a few battle scars in kindergarten? Just saying. The only way I could cope with the new body I saw in the mirror was reverting back to all of my best coping skills. I made jokes about it. My stomach didn't have stretch marks, no. If they were, so be it. But hey, it was a roadmap. A roadmap to wherever you wanted to go. Just follow the stretch marks and you'll end up somewhere. When my children got a bit older, I found myself saying that a lot more than I ever thought I would have to. You know, children have a way of pointing out all of your flaws and asking very blunt questions about them. Sometimes with a disgusted look on their face. It's kind of humiliating. Pregnancy, as we all know, does a lot to a woman. And my body took a ton. Almost literally. I managed to gain over 100 pounds when I was pregnant with my twins. I tried telling myself it was because they were going to be big babies, and there was two of them. I was eating for three. But I also knew that was a piss poor excuse. It kind of worked for me though. Kind of. Fun fact, the boys were 5 pounds 12 ounces and 6 pounds 2 ounces at birth. So yeah, that 100 pounds was not for eat for three. I also told people that I swore I gained weight just by looking at the food. Never fully wanting to admit to the fact that I was secretly eating all day and staying up all night crying while stuffing my mouth with whatever I found in our fridge. Hey, I'm big boned, remember? In my early 20s, I wasn't doing what others were doing at my age. You know, like going to college, having a career, partying, and all that. I was changing diapers, breastfeeding, maintaining a household, and dreaming. The only, and I mean only, concern was my children and their health and happiness. Never once did I stop to think about what could actually happen if I didn't take my health seriously. I used the amount of babies I had as a way of getting out of anything healthy. They took up all my time. They need me right now. Well, I shouldn't say never. There was once, a few times, I sat down on the couch, and I was very serious about this show, and I had my, large bowl of overly buttered popcorn, and I watched it. The Biggest Loser. I felt like the contestants on there, their progress was mine. I would either be cheering them on or making stupid comments like, oh my God, I can do that. That looks so easy. But did I ever do it though? No, that wasn't for me. I had too many babies. I was convinced I was going to be obese my entire life. I mean, think about it. If I die and I'm that crazy cat lady, the cat's going to need something to eat, right? Anyway, I was forever going to be unattractive, lonely, fat, and miserable. I wanted a change. I knew I needed a change. But change is hard and scary in my world. But then my world changed. All it took was one trampoline, 4 of my toddlers, a little willpower, and some extremely bad luck. I like to call it blonde and Polish, but whatever. My fun idea of playing popcorn with my babies on the trampoline changed me and my right knee forever. My blonde Polish ass managed to tear every single ligament in my right knee, along with everything else, when I landed wrong on the damn trampoline. All done with pure perfection right in front of my children. I ended up needing major knee surgery and tons of physical therapy. The recovery time was going to be hard, I was told. I wasn't told that my limited mobility was going to mentally break me. I didn't have the support from my then husband like I deserved. In fact, his lack of support and lack of respect for me was so noticeable that my physical therapist started getting frustrated. My physical therapist ended up helping me more than ever, went out of his way. He voiced his opinion even when I didn't want it. Anytime I ever showed up alone, because I was driving stick while I was driving there alone, and my knee was not supposed to be doing any of that. Or if I showed up with my children, he's like, what? The guy doesn't have a job. Why can't he watch your kids? He would ask me how I would put up with all of that. And to be honest, I never had a good answer. I simply put up with it because that is what I thought I was worth. But I couldn't say that out loud. My physical therapist made me start asking myself what the hell I was doing with my life. After he saw enough, he went out of his way to help me make plans for my health and held me accountable. Let's be real here. My knee was shot and all that extra weight wasn't helping at all. So even losing one simple pound was going to help take some pressure off of my bad knee. I slowly went from a size 24 to a size 18. It was hard, overwhelming at times, but so worth it. And once I actually started seeing the progress, I then started making hard decisions. Those decisions that I was once so afraid of making. But I had to choose a different path. Those nagging questions in the back of my mind were coming to surface more and more each day. Angie, are you really happy? Was my environment affecting my children in a good way or a bad way? Am I going to settle for less than what I deserve? What do I actually deserve? Is there someone out there that will love me for me? I mean, I wanted to be loved by someone who truly loved me the way I loved them. Someone who respected me. Someone that would stick with me throughout life, even if I had a bad knee and an occasional attitude. I wanted someone who wasn't embarrassed by my looks. Everyone deserves that. I was done hurting myself. Other words, done hiding the pain, the lack of respect I had for myself, and done settling for less. I officially wanted more. Every plus girl needs some real loving too, just throwing that out there. So I made those hard decisions, hard choices. And those hard choices changed me forever. They brought me to the love of my life, my husband Tony. I met him when I was a size 18-20. Because of my toxic coping skills and thoughts I carried with me everywhere, I ended up doing a bunch of self-sabotaging on our relationship. It didn't help me when it came to our relationship, but for some reason, this man didn't leave. He was the first man to ever look at me the way he did. The first to make me feel seen, sexy, wanted, worthy, beautiful. He made me feel so good that it didn't feel real. My big boned Chris Farley looking ass wasn't allowed to have someone like him, I would tell myself. I wanted to be better for him though. My weight throughout the beginning stayed around this same range of 20 pounds plus 20 pounds. It was a 20-pound range. My eating habits changed a bit as well. Problem was, no matter how great Tony made me feel, I still hated my own body. Another fun fact, he made me feel so comfortable that he was the only man I ever fully got naked with, and I had 4 children at the time. He had the power to make me feel so comfortable in my own skin, and whenever he left, I went right back to feeling ashamed of what I looked like. He could tell me until he was blue in the face that he thought I was the most beautiful person on the planet, and it wouldn't matter. I saw myself differently. I realized very quickly that I was the only person in the way of my own happiness. I was the only one that was in the way of my own self-worth. I was the only one that could change that. All of those walls I built and coping skills I made throughout my life slowly backed off. Just enough to feel comfortable, happy, worthy of the love of my life. And it felt amazing. Even if I still was not fully loving what I saw in the mirror. Now let me fast forward a bit to my let's make a baby phase. I was surrounded by pregnant women at work, and that baby fever of mine kicked into high drive. We had his and hers, we just needed ours. In the back of my mind, I knew how pregnancy was on my body every other time, but that outweighed the idea of us making a baby of our own. It only took one night and voila, I was pregnant. It was an incredible feeling. I was going to have a baby with the love of my life. My husband, well, boyfriend at the time, fiance, my bad, treated me like I always wanted to be treated and then some. With that being said, whenever I asked him for any kind of food while I was pregnant, that man never said no. In fact, he joined me. And whatever side effects I had from my pregnancy, he also joined me on those too. Back hurts, sleeping, stomach, whatever. He was pregnant with me. I used the eating for two and he went with it. And he also ate with me with it. But that's super unhealthy thinking, especially when I was on bed rest. I ended up gaining just as much weight with my last pregnancy as I did with my twins. The stress of being on bed rest took a toll on my mental health as well. What do I do best under pressure? Eat. I was eating whenever I was sad, stressed, scared, happy, excited. Okay, fine. I want to be honest, so I will say it. I was eating every single possible emotion that a person could feel. Okay? That eating for two phrase I used helped me gain 100 pounds. And as much as I would love to say that it was all baby, it wasn't. My doctor did tell me our son was going to be a bigger baby. That for some reason helped me cope with the whole idea of gaining 100 pounds. Our son was going to be huge. Doctor said it. Made enough sense to me. Then our baby came into this world weighing 8 pounds, 12.5 ounces. The biggest baby I ever gave birth to. But, what the fuck? I gained more than that when I was harvesting him, okay? I was right back to that. Don't look in the damn mirror, it might break on you mindset. I found myself wishing I looked like I did when we first met. And trust me, I didn't like that look on me either. I didn't love it either. Ugh. But it was better than the body I ate myself into. I would have thought that my weight and overall look would have turned Tony off, but it didn't. In fact, we ended up getting married just 6 months after our son. And just to be clear, like I said, we were engaged before our son was conceived. My husband married me happily that day, I'd like to assume anyways, at a much heavier weight than I ever was. I would be lying if I said it didn't bother me at all. Because it did. I'm not sure if it was due to my own insecurities at the time, but I noticed other people, other women especially, looking at us. I mean, shit, when we were going to the mall just to pick out an outfit for our wedding, because we went to the courthouse, we were in American Eagle, which my husband is not an American Eagle guy, but it was for our wedding. And there was a woman that was literally hitting on him in front of me. Because I was like, he came out and I was like, oh man, you look so good. And I was already feeling bad about myself, right? And she's like, oh, you look so good. I just wanted to beat a bitch. Like, that's my man. But she was skinnier and prettier than me. So those insecurities definitely did not help at all. I wanted to, like, oh my God. The woman looked at me like, how the hell did you bag him? I wasn't sure then, and shit, you know what, lady? If you're listening, I'm not sure how I did now. I do call my husband a chubby chaser just to make myself feel validated. I do that a lot. At this point, he don't even care. I don't even care. After we got married and I was done breastfeeding our little one, I went back to work. You know, some people say that breastfeeding helps your body in many ways. I declare that as an old wives' tale. But I was still eating like I was pregnant, so that could probably be why it didn't work for me, okay? The job I applied for was not for the weak. The physical demands were going to be challenging, but I saw it as an opportunity. I was going to get paid to work out every night. And I was getting paid well doing it. Challenge accepted. It was rough on my body for a while, till I started building those muscles I lost a long time ago, or also the muscles I never really had. I started losing weight, my hours were long and tough, and my sleeping and eating habits changed drastically as well. The funny, but not so funny part of it all was I never saw any of that at the time. I knew I was losing weight. That was all I saw. And all that I cared about at the time. The rest of it was a blur. I felt amazing. I felt on top of the freaking world. I was making money and losing weight. That's it. I didn't see what everybody else around me saw. They saw me not eating, not sleeping, and so on. But that didn't make sense to me because I was looking better than I ever thought I looked. And I was making bank. I was unstoppable. How was any of that fake? But that's the tricky part about mental illness, though. You feel all kinds of emotions, but are they really the truth? My reality was that the fat woman I always dreaded to look at was gone. Hopefully for good. The woman I became, I thought was better than ever. But was she really? I was right about one thing at the time. The fat woman I hated my entire life was definitely gone. That fat woman I never loved or cared to understand ended up in the psych ward. The world I once knew was now like sand flowing through my fingers. I always thought that my weight was the issue, not my mind. The number on the scale and the reflection in the mirror had now become the last thing I cared about. I had to focus on getting myself back to, I'm not even entirely sure really. I knew I wanted to save my marriage and my family. The only way to do that was to dig deep and get my shit together. I was put on all different kinds of medications, and I went through many different therapists. I do not have one now. You all are my therapists. But I felt like an embarrassment. And those meds, they actually didn't help my weight issue either. Because when I went into the hospital the first time, when I was unstoppable and losing all that weight, I was a size 12. 12! I honestly was not that size since I was in third grade? But the meds they gave me at the psych ward helped me go right back to that fat woman I knew my whole life. The one I hated. I literally stood on the scale that had a weight limit of 350 pounds. And that thing flashed a big red E at me. What the fuck? Maybe I needed new batteries. Well, no, it didn't. Because once I slapped some new batteries on that scale and got right back on it, that thing still flashed the same red E. It dawned on me. The batteries were just freaking fine. It was me. I was over the weight limit. I was officially one huge bitch with a mental health problem. Throughout the entire chaotic mess I created, my husband Tony never stopped loving me though. I'm sure he hated me at times, but never stopped loving me. He was the only one that saw me still. The only one that really truly stuck around. That man had that magic touch. He made me feel like I was the most beautiful person on the planet, and I can keep saying that until my face is blue. All 350 plus pounds of me, because honestly, I don't know how big I got, but it was close to 400 pounds. I didn't deserve him, and I knew it. Once my medications were changed around a lot, and my mood changes were manageable, I grew up. Odd to say because I was a grown-ass woman at the time, but I did. I finally dug deep enough to know what I wanted, what I needed to do, and how the hell I was going to do it. I knew it was going to be hard, but life isn't easy. And if it's hard, it's worth it. Trust me on that. My new grown fat ass went to the doctor's office and got diabetes added to my ever-growing medical chart. And I had to make goals, change my diet, and change my relationship with food. Fun fact, I found out I had an eating disorder. I didn't know overeating was an eating disorder. I thought not eating and puking and all that. But no, if you're eating your emotions and all that isn't an actual problem. You have to go and get help with the relationship with food. And I had to do all of this while staying mentally sane. Now that sounds easy. Sign me up. It isn't easy. It took a few years, but I am happy to report that the scale went from a flashing E to 353. Holy shit. I had a number. Not a good number, but it was better than E. My marriage had started to improve, and I was becoming mentally healthier. I'd like to assume. It was hard, but every time I saw the number on the scale go down, I felt like I accomplished something. My husband would give me encouraging words whenever I would tell him about the new number. Then one day, I saw a scale number that started with a 2. Holy shit. I was no longer 350 plus pounds. I was now in the club 200. I should have been excited. I kind of was, but it was also a mind fuck. I didn't want my husband to worry about what happened in the past. I wanted to keep going, but stay mentally healthy, authentic, and true to myself. Although my husband knew my weight anytime it changed, he never saw a difference in my appearance. I swear. Correction. He saw that I was buying clothes and his wallet might have felt lighter. That's about it. Oh, and he also did catch me eating at night when I should have been sleeping. And that still happens. Yeah. Other than that, I am 100% certain he never saw me as super big until the night he did. I will never forget that night, actually. It's probably ingrained in me the rest of my life. And I will probably have Alzheimer's or dementia because that runs in the family. Ever-growing medical chart. I had taken a shower and laid in bed. He was facing the opposite direction and staring at his phone. I happened to glance over his shoulder to see what he was geeking out about. And to my surprise, it was a picture taken from him of me in 2018. I'm not really sure if he meant to do this, but he said something out loud like, "Holy shit!" along with a ton of laughter. And to this day, I'm hoping it was nervous laughter like, she's going to kill me if I keep laughing at this picture. But I know that ain't true. I'm just hoping. And then he went on with, "That is not you. I never saw you look like that, hun. Don't take this personally. Like, I never saw you look like that." He kept saying that over and over through his laughter. I was annoyed. It was hurting a bit. But honestly, as annoyed and frustrated as I wanted to be, it was kind of an eye-opening experience. My husband loved me for all of the right reasons. Literally through thick and a little thinner. He loves me for me, not my size. How many men are out there like that nowadays? That is true love. And because of the way that he loves me, I learned how to actually love myself. I may have my struggles here and there now. How I might even annoy him with all of my negative self-talk, wardrobe issues, malfunctions, and whatever else he may tune into whenever he sees my mouth flapping. But he will always be my cheerleader. And no matter what number is on the scale, he will always love me. He is the reason, and I hate that he is the reason because it should have been all me, but I guess all my unhealthy coping skills help with that, but he is the reason I was able to truly love myself. Because I'm happy with what I look like right now. I am content. I don't care if someone looks at me bad. I don't care. But Anyway, over a month ago, my husband came back from the doctor's office, and his blood work wasn't the greatest, to be honest. I took immediate action. I told him I was going to change our diets. I am the one that is preparing what he puts into his body, so I felt responsible. What I mean by that is food. I had to just put that out there, babe. And I refuse to see my husband's health get worse under my watch. It took me seeing my husband's blood work to change my diet as well. Still not fully loving myself 100% like I should, but that's okay, because I love most of me. I will get there. It's a work in progress. I hate admitting this too, though. I am a follower. Fully have to admit it. If my husband is going to do it, then I might as well. Just not to the extent as him. He goes all in. I dip my toes in the water and do it my way. Either way, since our diet changed, our scale numbers changed as well. Energy levels increased. Sleeping habits, well, we're still working on that, but they're getting a little better. Sex drive has increased. Can't complain about that. And we plan on adding some exercise in there as well. My knee, that is still an ongoing issue, makes it difficult at times. Overall, though, I see us growing even older together. This is where you might be asking, what in the hell is this woman getting at with all this? And that's simple. I have a few little notes here. Looks can change for the good or bad. Your relationship with food will determine your overall health. It is challenging, for me at least, to change old habits when it comes to that food, but it is something that can be done. You can't change what you did yesterday, but you can choose differently tomorrow. And that goes for casting judgments or doubts, whether those are on yourself or on others. All of your stretch marks, scars, and blemishes are yours. My grandma's right. They are yours. They are your story. Why be ashamed of what you went through? If anything, be ashamed of other people's ignorance or possibly their jealousy. True love doesn't see what you deem as ugly. True love sees your soul. And that, my friend, is all that matters. So when it comes to that couple that started my whole podcast idea, why does it matter? Obviously, that is true love. They have been together since, I believe it was high school. There is something there. It is more than just looks. Stop looking at yourself in the mirror and criticizing every inch of your body. And I do need to tell myself this, and I try like hell to not do it. But honestly, try embracing your beauty. If your kids see you talking negatively about yourself, what in the hell do you think they're going to do when they see themselves in the mirror? Teach those little ones self-love by example. This is a big one for me because I did that all the time. I constantly talked negative into that mirror, and our daughters were there, my sons were there. Now my youngest is afraid to go in a pool without a shirt. That to me is sad, and it's because he heard me talking negatively about myself. Lead by example, like show them good examples. Most importantly, who in the hell are we to judge what a couple should look like together? If you don't like it, turn around and don't look. All of the negative judgments casted our way are turned into fuel, driving us to flaunt our happiness to you even more. I have a better idea for you. This one's a really fun one. Go find yourself a plus size partner and find out what you're missing out on. I heard from a fairy that plus size ladies have amazing personalities. Just saying. Otherwise, let us, plus size, aka big bone ladies, get all the true loving we need from our amazing and possibly blind men. This world needs more unconditional love. And that is the end of my rant today, I think. Thank you for tuning in and allowing me to be a part of your day. Now go out there and embrace the weird and make normal feel boring. Also, love yourself. Bye.